Hi, and welcome to the Law Simplified. I'm Shaveen Bandaranayake. The most common reason why students fail exams, as well as assignment submissions in either a summative or a formative assessment, is not what you may think it is. If you like the content that I produce on this very YouTube channel, as well as the different platforms that the Law Simplified is disseminated on, do share this video, like, comment, and subscribe to the Law Simplified. Now, more often than not, I've mentioned on a number of videos that the determination of your final grade in terms of your assessment is not simply one specific factor. It might be due to the way that you articulate your response. It might be due to the fact that you are regurgitating that which you have learned rather than applying the law and showing the examiner your personality and your arguments and analytical thinking. It might also be the fact that you haven't really planned things out as such. Now, several months ago, I made a video which I will link in the card up top here in relation to managing your time in terms of an examination. I introduced a particular rule called the 20-60-20 rule. Now, you might think that this is by and large predominantly for an examination, but the truth is many students fail exams not simply because they haven't answered a question properly, but because they haven't managed their time properly and they haven't been aware of the assessment requirement. Now, what do I mean by this? Now, from an examination standpoint, presume that you have a traditional 3-hour law exam in which you have a number of questions to answer. Timing is critical for a number of reasons. On the one hand, it gives you the opportunity to articulate responses in a manner which an examiner would expect from you, considering the format that it is presented to you. For example, if you are undertaking a 3-hour assessment in the traditional format and you might have 4 questions to answer, you're looking at roughly 45 minutes per question. Now, I've done a video on how to properly break down an examination question as well, which I will link in the description below. But basically, the timing has to work in the same manner that I illustrated a couple of months ago, 20-60-20. Using the initial 20% of your time to articulate or to structure your response, 60%, the lion's share of which to actually put it down on paper, and then 20% to make sure that you have everything on board and to conclude it by checking every single aspect of it, crossing the T's and dotting the I's, so to speak. But you need to understand that this same thing needs to extend broadly depending on the syllabus that you have been allotted as well as the university that you are enrolled with. Some universities, for example, apart from a 3-hour timed assessment, may also indicate that students are supposed to do formative or summative assessments, which run for, let's say, a week, 2 weeks, or even a month for that matter. Sometimes, timed assessments might be within a span of 24 hours or 48 hours. The importance of timing cannot be overstressed. Whenever I speak to my fast track or masterclass students, or whenever I receive comments from students who have approached me through the videos on this YouTube channel and the different platforms that the Law Simplified is disseminated on, the common trait that I have identified is that it's not that they don't know the law, it's not even that they have no means of articulating and showing off their talents to an examiner in terms of their personality and arguments, but rather it's because they've been lousy at their timing. That being said, there are a number of playlists and videos on this very channel that you can use to try and understand how best to strategize and then theorize the law that you have learned in a manner which doesn't see you going overboard or falling short of the requirement. Most students tend to either answer too broadly or try to use too much in an assessment and thereby not finishing it. On the other hand, you will have students who have plenty of time but don't realize how to sufficiently use that time or to appropriately use that time in a manner that is cohesive for that type of assessment. This is why I suggest being always aware of the assessment. Being aware of the assessment is not just about the rubric and what's required scholastically or academically, but also in terms of timing, to see how you can allocate your resources and efforts to make the most out of that time, to not just show the examiner that you know the law, but that you can plan out a response accordingly. That being said, until the next time that we meet, have fun, stay safe, and as always, obey the law.